Truly, truly was stunning in the worst way. Hello and welcome into the Knicks-Verse. If you just watched that fourth quarter between the Knicks and the Atlanta Hawks in Game 2, and if you're a Knicks fan, you are stunned. You are probably disgusted. You're probably, weeping. You're probably cursing at the top of your lungs. The one thing you're not is happy. But down south in Georgia, there's a lot of happy fans down there because their team executed in crunch time and ours did not. Truly a stunning defeat, an absolutely appalling collapse in the fourth quarter. And, shout out to Atlanta. They fought hard. They never gave up. But the Knicks handed it to them at the same time. There was too much hero ball at the end with Brunson, who was not having a good game by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, he has had 7 poor quarters in reality in these last 2 games. After that first quarter in Game 1 where he lit him up for 19 points, he has not been the same player since. And yet we still keep going to him like he is. What happened to the 2-man game between him and Karl-Anthony Towns? In that fourth quarter late, I believe when the game was tied, I was wondering how come Cat's not getting the ball in this little 2-man setup that they had where Cat set the screen. Brunson drove in. He missed. They went the other way. Bucket. Took the lead 105-103. C.J. McCollum rose to the occasion. He rose in the spotlight. He led the young team. The old savvy vet from Portland in the days with Dame Lillard. He took all of that and he led his team to a series tie. This sucks for the Knicks. Sucks for us fans. Honestly, I'm stunned. If they had played a great game, I'm talking about the Hawks, and then just beat us, you'd be like, okay, you regroup. But no, they did not play a great game. We just happened to play an absolutely abysmal game. There were mistakes all around, but Coach Brown is the one most responsible. He's watching what's happening on the court just like we are. He can't see that Deuce and Shamet and Clarkson. Clarkson finally gave us a couple of buckets late in the second half when he was mixed in with other players. But he left a unit on the floor of OG Anunoby, Mitchell Robinson, Karl-Anthony Towns. No, not Karl-Anthony Towns. Mitch Robinson, OG, McCall, Deuce, and Grand Theft Alvarado in that fourth quarter. Knicks were up 12. It was 91-79. They had closed strong. The intensity was wild at MSG. It was at 100 towards the end of that third quarter. But I think the intensity might have peaked a little too early because this team came out, was flat. They allowed Atlanta 2 buckets right away, a 4-0 start to fourth quarter, and suddenly it's just an 8-point game. And then Grand Theft Auto goes baseline, finds OG in the corner 3, nice hit, but by that point the game was so tight. We're gonna break it down. This is I'm very dismayed by this. Knicks lost 107 to 106, a 1-point loss. And honestly, it was a 4-point deficit with 10.6 seconds left. But Brunson, who had been struggling, hit like an incredible 3-point shot with only 3 seconds it ticked off the clock. And then an amazing thing happened. The Knicks got an Atlanta Hawk to the free throw line, fouled. It was C.J. McCollum, and he misses both. But I thought we had another timeout. The announcers said we had a timeout. They were incorrect. We did not have a timeout. And the graphics on Peacock, they're hard to tell how many timeouts a team has. So I wasn't sure. But they were saying that Knicks had a timeout, and Hart gets the rebound off the missed free throw, the second one. And I'm like, okay, timeout. We set up the offense. We get a nice 2-pointer. We win. Instead, we apparently did not have a timeout, so I was incorrect about that. I tweeted that out. It was incorrect. Hart throws the ball up to McCall, but the Hawks were ready because they knew we didn't have a timeout. 3 Hawks were smothering Mikal Bridges, and he attempted a long-range midi that would have won the game, but it barely even hit the rim. It was not a good attempt, despite what they're all going to say. Despite what Mike Brown says, what Mikal says, it was not a good attempt. He wasn't the guy to take that shot. Honestly, I would rather if Josh just held on to that ball. 5.6 seconds. That guy's a speed demon. This is what you do, Josh. Get your ass up the court. Get fouled. Make at least one of 2. We got a tie game. We go into overtime. Make both. We win the game. Instead, he threw the ball up to McCall, who I got the play for you to see. But what happened at the end is not really why the Knicks lost this game. It's what happened before all of that. It's what happened in that entire fourth quarter. It's what happened throughout the entire game. The Knicks, they kept creating leads and then kept giving them up. There were odd lineups. There were too many minutes with Cat and Brunson off the floor at the same time. When it's fine, it's not the first time that's happened. It's fine, but you can see Deuce doesn't have it. Shamet doesn't have it. Shamet slammed his ass on the floor there because the paint was wet, and he wasn't the same afterwards. And Clarkson couldn't make anything. Clarkson hasn't hit a 3-pointer, I don't know, since before I got my haircut a month ago. Grand Theft Alvarado gave you some inspired minutes. He drove several times, just could not finish at the end. He got to the hoop, but could not finish. Didn't have enough English at the end. A couple of times, I think there were some putbacks here and there that was covering things up. And then Karl-Anthony Towns in the fourth quarter, I don't think he even got a shot attempt. Meanwhile, he was a big difference maker in that third quarter. But a lot of that was because of putbacks. This was a very odd game, and I think I got to shout out Coach Schneider. He outcoached Mike Brown tonight. Yeah, Towns had 14 points in that third quarter. He was 6 of 7, 2 of 3 from the 3-point line. Right? So you're like, okay, cool. Fourth quarter, only 2 shot attempts. That's it. Here it is. This is the fourth quarter stats. Here's our big unit, our starting unit, who I think has a lot of problems. 0 points, Josh Hart, in 8 minutes. 0 points, Karl-Anthony Towns, in 8 minutes. 0 points, Mikal Bridges, in 12 minutes. Mikal Bridges played the entire fourth quarter. Why? Honestly, this is the kind of game I would have liked to have seen Mo Diawara get some minutes. He maybe get you a bucket or 2. These guys were doing nothing tonight. Look at Clarkson, 1 of 4 in that fourth quarter. Alvarado, 0 for 2. I told you, and he missed a three-pointer. Clarkson missed a three-pointer. Clarkson did pick up 3 offensive rebounds, and I think this one bucket was a putback, actually. So it wasn't even a real make, which is, I'll take it. But the bench gives you 2 points. Meanwhile, the Atlanta bench, Jonathan Kuminga wakes up. You know, he gives you 7 points. Look at this, plus 13. McCollum, plus 13 Okongwu. And that's how they eked out a 1-point game after starting this quarter down 12. Unbelievably disappointing result. The Knicks were 5 of 22 in the fourth quarter. They shot 22.7%. And 3 of those 5 makes were 3-pointers. 3 of 11. 1 by OG, 2 by Brunson, and one of them was that crazy one with 10 seconds left, which cut the lead to just 1. But McCall, 0 for 2. Cat, 0 for 1. Josh Hart, 0 for 1. Josh Hart only attempts 1 field goal in that fourth quarter. It became the offense stalled out, and it became just all Brunson all night, all quarter long. And what did that result in? A 12-point collapse. Why didn't they work more of a 2-man game between Brunson and Cat? Why didn't Cat get the ball down low? The Knicks, we got them into the bonus early. We could have kept feeding Cat. He could have kept going to the free throw line. Anything but what happened would have been better. This was probably Mike Brown's worst coaching game of his Knicks career. And it happened to come in Game 2 of the playoffs, where we now have given up home court advantage. If Atlanta wins on Friday, no, when it's Thursday, then they're up 2-1. This is bullshit. Total bullshit. Well, welcome into the Knicks-Verse. I appreciate you guys joining me here tonight for the live recap of this very disappointing result. Shout out to we surveyed 100 people. Thank you so much for joining me here tonight. A subscriber for the channel. We got Gideon in the house. We got Che V. We got Armand Smith. I'm sure everyone here is appalled. And yeah, great mention, Drew's Reviews. Not only did we just completely allow C.J. McCollum to cook us, but then, well, I mean, they went on an 11-0 run and took the lead. Atlanta 11-0 run in the fourth quarter. They took the lead 103-100, and then that's when Brunson tied it with he tied it with a nice 3-pointer. That was the first 3-pointer of the fourth quarter that he hit. We were tied 103, but then they did everything to get Brunson the ball again. Instead of looking for mismatches, instead of trying to look for your other, all NBA, all-star player, Karl Anthony Towns, it became this myopic, get it to Brunson. And then at one point, they totally crashed Brunson with like 2 or 3 defenders, forced the ball out of his hands, and then OG drove, but he drove too deep into the paint, into a congested paint, because Cat was in there, and then Okongwu was there, and I think there was another Atlanta player. So it just drove into a congested paint, and Okongwu stripped the ball from him, and then OG got called for a foul. So the ball went the other way. Poor decision making. And if you want to be a champion, that's where you have to excel at. Tonight, the Knicks failed at that. And it makes me very concerned about the future of this team. Going to be honest with you. 107 Atlanta, 106 Knicks. I'll show you this play. Here it is. Scores tied. I mean, no. It's the final score. 107 Atlanta, 106. CJ McCollum's at the line. Look at that. Just go, 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 go. You have McCollum, like, he's backpedaling. Josh, you could have just whipped right past him. Or he probably would have fouled you. You know, I'd rather you get into the paint, do a floater. Instead of a 19-footer fade away in the corner. Come on. And Kat, why are you floating to your, like, right? Get your fucking body straight. Get down the court. Maybe you get the ball tossed to you for a trailer bucket. I'd rather have Kat hit a 30-footer or attempt a 30-footer. But look at him. His body turns to his left instead of turning to his right. Goes straight up. He takes himself out of the play. Situational awareness. This was my issue all this time with, like, Randall and even Thibs. You know, guys like Elfrid Payton, all these guys. Situational awareness. Understand the moment. 5 seconds left. This is a terrible attempt. And that's after Mikal had 2 3-point attempts that rattled. They looked like they were going to go down in the fourth quarter, like midway through the fourth quarter. When was that? Yes. Earlier, in like about a third of the way into the fourth quarter, Mikal misses two back-to-back threes in the same possession because we got offensive rebounds and got second chance opportunities, and Mikal couldn't hit it. So you can't hit that. Now he's going to hit this? Come on, people. There's too much put upon the weight of the shoulders of Jalen Brunson. That has to change. These guys and the coach need to trust each other. They need to keep the ball moving. When the ball is moving, guys are cutting. The offense is cooking. When it stalls out, then they just turn to Brunson. Here, give him the ball like a hot potato. Now, I think that the foul calling is, again, ridiculous. There were times where Brunson should have gotten an extra foul call where he didn't, but meanwhile, CJ McCollum gets easy calls. Look at this. They know how lucky they were to win this game, the Hawks. The point is, though, what sucks is they're going home with this great mojo, and now we got to go there and try to drum up the proper response after we couldn't do it at home. I don't know about you guys, but right now I'm not feeling that good about this team. I'm not giving up on them, obviously. They have surprised us many times in the past, but a loss like this just kind of gives me Indiana Pacers vibes. It gives me those kind of vibes. Indiana Pacers game 1 vibes. Or was it game 2 when Nesmith couldn't miss a bucket, couldn't miss a 3 in the fourth quarter or something, and there was no adjustments being made? And the timeout calling situation was a huge mistake. Huge mistake. Here. Ian Begley tweets out, Hawks outscore Knicks 18-10 in final 7 minutes to take game 2. C.J. McCollum had 32 points, including 6 in the final 2 minutes and 8 seconds to help lift Atlanta. New York Knicks led by 8 with 5:56 to play and fell apart. Club shot 5 for 22 in the fourth quarter and 3 for 11 from the three-point line. 2 of 4 from the free throw line. The free throw line thing was shocking. OG went to the free throw line. The score was 101. Atlanta had just taken their lead, the first lead of the fourth quarter. They just took the lead. And OG gets fouled. He gets sent to the free throw line. We could have taken the lead back right then. He misses both. Both. And then Atlanta scores, and it's they extend their lead 103-100. Crazy. Tommy Beer clarified this. The Knicks did not have a timeout left. NBA teams are allowed a maximum of 2 timeouts in the final 3 minutes of the fourth quarter. Knicks used a timeout with 2:43 left in the fourth quarter and 10 seconds left in the fourth quarter to set up the Brunson three-pointer. But that is a big issue because, here you go. There's a use it or lose it rule. If you don't use a timeout before the 3 minutes, you lose it. Where is that? Where is that? It's not that. Well, this was Brunson. 29 points on 26 field goal attempts, 7 assists. None of those were in the fourth quarter, the assists. Where is this? Yeah. All right, we'll listen to this. Mike Brown was asked about using a timeout with 2:43 left.
Just wondering what your logic was on the timeout with 2:43 after passing on the use it or lose it.
You know, I apologize. I wish I can help you right now. I can't.
It was Jalen was in transition. You called he was penetrating to the rim going right.
Yeah, because we had a couple of possessions weren't fluid, and so I wanted to make sure that we had something that we wanted to get to. Or to set something up offensively because we had whiffed on the last couple of possessions. They just didn't look right or didn't feel right.
Mike, you didn't use the use it or lose it?
So he didn't use the use it or lose it 17 seconds before he ended up calling a timeout. Situational awareness, bro. We're sucking wind by that point. We were already struggling. They were beating us to possessions. Let's see when this happened. Pull this thing up. Pull this thing up here. And also, what's all those assistants sitting behind the bench there? Someone speak up. Get ahead of this thing. Come on. Okay. So, right here. Here it is. With 3:25 to go. Okay? The score is Jalen Johnson drives for a layup, completes it, and now it's 100-99. Your 12-point lead has dwindled to just one. 11 points disappeared. And you don't call a timeout there. But then, Hart misses a pull-up three. Kuminga gets a rebound. McCollum does a bad pass turnover. We get the ball back. It was a nice steal by Mikal Bridges. And then you call the timeout. By then, you had lost your timeout. You had a timeout earlier that you use it or lose it, and you lost it. And that is why you did not give yourself a chance to win this game with 5 seconds left. That is horrific coaching right there. And let's look at this shot here. Let's see what this shot looked like. Oh, yeah. Oh, look, and Brunson even got hit in the face there. No call. No call. Is this really the shot we want right here? Do I have high hopes that Knicks are going to wake up and, take care of business in Game 3? Do I have high hopes right now? I don't have high hopes. No. I have legitimate hopes. The Knicks are a better team than the Hawks. And sometimes teams go cold. Sometimes teams just get tight. And sometimes the rotations that worked previously don't suddenly work. And you have to pivot. Unfortunately, Mike Brown didn't pivot early enough, quick enough. He didn't, actually. And this is another game. I just want you to point this out. Another game where Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who was supposed to cook us, couldn't even get double digits in scoring. 9 points for him. He was 3 of 12 from the field. 3 of 12. But we allowed Kuminga to put up 19 points tonight. I would have loved to have seen Mohamed Diawara on Kuminga. Just drive that guy nuts. Match his athleticism. Block his fucking shot. Keep him outside, out of the paint. But one of the main reasons the Knicks lost this game, other than the fourth quarter collapse, is the turnovers. The Knicks committed 14 turnovers tonight. Only 2 more than the Hawks, but they allowed 16 points off those turnovers because they were live ball turnovers. And we only recouped 12. So that's a -6 right there. We lost by 1. Knicks shot 17 of 27 from the free throw line. 63%. They missed 10 free throws. They get 27 attempts and miss 10 of them. That's more than a third. You hit half of those missed ones, you win this game. So many things to look at. And this is not even a game where, because Knicks have a tendency of giving up a lot of, we give up a few too many open threes, which turn into buckets against good three-point shooting teams, and it does hurt us, and we have to somehow figure out a way to overcome that. Well, tonight, they were 9 of 30 from the three-point line. 30%. That's it. 30%. We weren't much better. We were 11 of 34. Let's look at the game charts. Here is the game chart right here. We lost the stocks battle, the steals and blocks combination. They had 9 steals, 7 blocks. That's 16. We had 9 total. 5 steals, 4 blocks. We committed more turnovers, 11 here. 14 here. They only committed 11 in this bracket here. We shot terribly from the field, 44.8%, and a lot of that was Jalen Brunson and our bench. And we shot terribly from the free throw line. We got beat in the fast break points in transition, 20-13, which Knicks won that in game 1. We lost it here. We did win the second chance points opportunity here, 24-9. That's impressive. But we lost the points in the paint battle. In a game where we had the two biggest players on the court at all times, we lost the points in the paint battle, 58-54. Just utterly appalling. Utterly appalling. Meanwhile, Cleveland won their second game. They beat the Raptors. I'm just so pissed off. My apologies. My apologies, everybody. One thing I want to look at is look at this. Dyson Daniels, who's supposed to be, this tremendous defender, he had a 130 defensive rating, a minus 22.2 net rating during this game alone. It was McCollum, Walker, even though he struggled to score, showed up defensively. Kuminga, look at this, a 98.5 defensive rating, fabulous. And then we look at our guys. Look at that. Mitch, a minus 28.6 defensive rating. It's crazy. He was on the court with nobody was playmaking at all whatsoever. And then you had Shamet, who couldn't stay in front of anybody. Same for Clarkson. And Deuce had a terrible game. Terrible game for Deuce. Zero field goal attempts for Cat in the final 4 minutes of the fourth quarter is definitely less than ideal. Tommy Beer. All right, let's hear Mike Brown's opening statement after tonight's loss.
Give Atlanta a lot of credit. A couple of times we could have pulled away and we didn't. They just kind of stayed with it. We just got to lock in a little bit better in a playoff game. It's tough to win against a good team when you shoot 60% from the free throw line. In a one possession game, we missed 10 free throws. One possession game, we have 14 turnovers for 18 points. So, that's how they beat us in transition, was off our turnovers. We had some bad turnovers that led to some early baskets for those guys in transition. So we have to do a better job taking care of the ball, do a better job from the free throw line. And we one of the things that we talked about was boxing out. We did a nice job boxing out. We have to keep putting bodies on bodies. For them to get 6 offensive rebounds is big for us. And then down the stretch, we got some pretty good looks. We got the ball in the right people's hands down the stretch, and we just didn't convert. So, like I said, at the end of the day, we got to lock in from the free throw line, and we got to take care of the ball. Those are the turnover part is something that they're good at, and they were good at that tonight. The last thing I would say is that in that fourth quarter too, you could tell that they were playing with a level of desperation, and there were 4 50-50 balls, and they got 3 of the 4. And we always use that stat to gauge or gauge the level of aggression in a game, and in that fourth quarter their aggression stepped up.
Interesting how he said they played with desperation. I think he said something to that effect. And why? Because they didn't want to go down 0-2. Where was our hunger to extinguish any hope that the Hawks have in this series? Where was that? That truly is incredibly disappointing that we did not show that tonight in that fourth quarter. And throughout the game, honestly, throughout the game. Because there were many times where we were like, we built the lead. You know, you built the lead, you work hard for it, and then you start letting them chip away at it again. Yeah, you can look here. Here's the game flow. Built a nice 11-point lead early in that, late in that first quarter, 10-point lead early in the second quarter, and then let these guys go on a run. And they even took a 1-point lead in that second quarter. When that happened, I was very concerned. And at the halftime show, the members saw it. I was completely furious. But we kind of put it together, back together, and finished the half up 5. Or up 6. I think we were up. No, we were up 5. It was 61. Oh, no, we were up 7. This is incorrect. Yeah, we were up 7 at the half. 61-54 because McCall hit a baseline buzzer beater. We were only up 5. Then he hit a buzzer beater, which was great. And you're like, okay, cool. And then we went in there, extended that lead, got it up to 14 points midway through that third quarter. Cat was going crazy. He gets a putback after a hard miss. OG looked like he got stepped on, and then we started the third quarter strong. We were crashing the glass. Cat got another putback after a Brunson miss, and it was 77-64. We were up 13 with 7 minutes and 27 seconds left. OG misses. And then Cat gets another putback. He follows an OG miss. So that was even though it was great that we were getting the putbacks. It was odd that we needed 3 different putbacks to extend this lead. It wasn't like our guys were, they were cooking, they were delivering on their drives. They were unsuccessful drives, but it was good that we were aggressive and attacking the hoop and that we had Cat there to clean up the glass. But you don't want to have to depend on that to make buckets. So that immediately it was a kind of a concerning sign right there. And then Mitch subbed in, and we went with the double big lineup about the 5-minute and 30-second moment there, and we were up 80-69. Brunson did an amazing floater. He was just totally in his bag at that point in the third quarter. Drives, hits a floater, and then it started becoming a little too much of the Brunson show in that third quarter. So we went away from others driving like Hart, like Cat. Like OG. Like McCall, and then it just became Brunson, and guess what happens? Then Nickeil Alexander-Walker strips Brunson, but then Cat hits a near logo bomb from deep and puts the Knicks up 89-77 with 2:20 left in that third quarter. Then there was a lineup of Mitch, OG, Alvarado, Shamet, and Deuce. No Cat and no Brunson. This was in the third quarter. And, the lead, I think the Knicks were only up 7 at one point in that third quarter after being up 14 at one point. The Hawks cut the lead in half. But then, the intensity of the MSG just carried them over, and the Knicks were able to push this to a 12-point lead at the end of the third quarter. They won that third quarter 30-25. It looked like they were set. They were absolutely set, and then could only put up 15 points in the fourth quarter. I believe that's a franchise low, in the playoffs, I believe. Not 100%. Oh, shout out to We Survey 100 People for gifting some memberships. Really appreciate that, brother, tremendously. Thank you so much. Who got this one? Received the gift membership. 100 people received one. That's awesome. And then 6H05 TLY received another membership. Awesome. Thank you guys for joining into the Knicks-Verse. Shout out to everybody who's joined, who's rolled up here tonight. It's a rough one. I'm going to have to rewatch this game, put out another analytical video tomorrow, or tomorrow, yeah. Because this is unacceptable. Totally unacceptable. Look at that. Biggest lead Atlanta ever had was 4, and they finished with up 1. Oh, man. What a freaking bummer. You can't play with your food. That's the lesson. That is the lesson. You cannot play with your food in the NBA. Hawks were hungry. They did not want to go home. They did not want to go back to Georgia down 2. Let's listen to Quinn Snyder discuss this game.
I think we just kept competing, and over the course of the game, if you don't let up and you don't give in to that, you have an opportunity to have more success late if you just kind of hang in there. And we know they're such a good team and they're so hard to guard offensively that I think our guys understand that when they do score, you just can't get discouraged. You just need to keep trying to raise your level. We had a hard time on the defensive glass. Those plays can really be deflating. But I thought we responded to those as well. We never quite figured it out, but we dug in other aspects of the game.
Dug in. Yeah. Oh, man. Sucks. I'm just going to keep saying it sucks. And Deuce sucked today. Sorry. Got to say it. Deuce McBride, who I love. He's one of my favorite players, one of my favorite Knicks players. He was just did not have it tonight. Off the bench, he had 0 points, 0 assists, 2 turnovers, a -4 in his 13 minutes of play. Mike Brown was asked about the non-Brunson Cat minutes when they were both off the floor at the same time. Let's see if this is loud enough. Hopefully it is.
I don't think so. We've played that lineup quite a bit since the end of the season, and that lineup's been pretty good. We weren't good tonight, and we turned the ball over a few too many times during that period. But we had opportunities where our starters were in, and we were up 8 to 10, and Atlanta closed it. So I would just say that specific lineup caused it.
Well, he's right. He has used that non-Cat Brunson lineup, but it was obvious. It was obvious that those were that the lineups that he actually had in were struggling. They could not create. They could not finish at the hoop. Alvarado couldn't finish. Clarkson couldn't finish. Clarkson was a putback. He had one, I think, that he did finish. It was just these guys just didn't bring it tonight. And you have to shift quickly. It's not like you have a 25-point lead. It's just a 12-point lead. It's just an 11-point lead, or an 8-point lead, as he referenced there. That's not that much in the NBA, especially with the 3-point shooting. This was that final play. Oh, man. Shout out to the chat. Thank you guys for rolling up here. I can see a lot of concern in the chat. Ronald Clark 4844 says time to back up the truck. Margaret Edwards, shout out to Margaret. Thank you for rolling up, Margaret. Knicks really need to have killer instinct. Yes, that is the thing that I'm most concerned about. And I gotta say, Captain Brunson, it's up to you too. You don't have to do it all yourself. You have Karl Anthony Towns on the court. Alex Quispe, though, is still holding the flame for the Knicks. Knicks going to the finals. I still totally believe that's possible, but they can't have games like this. That's the thing. They can't have fourth quarters like this. The competition is only going to get better as we move forward. Maybe you can like deal with 2 or 3 minute stretches like this, still recover, but you can't have an 8.5 minute stretch like that where you let Atlanta go on I think they went on a 13-0 run, or was it 11-0 run, whatever it is. You cannot allow that. Got a slow runner in the house. Typical Knicks choked the game away. An OG overpaid player along with Bridges, who took a terrible shot at the end. Yeah, that was not a good shot at the end. Let's see what we got here. I think Diawara, this is where he should have gotten some minutes tonight. For sure. We needed his length. We needed his agility, his athleticism, his confidence. Though I think it's been a little bit rattled of late. But, he's still going to let it fly. But it's not so much what he gives you offensively, also what he gives you defensively. And he helps space the floor. And he gets to the hoop, which is really important. Those 2 free throws that OG missed were inexplainable. I'm sure CJ's feeling the same way. But even if he had hit those 2, it would still be a game where the Knicks could tie it if the Knicks had hit a 3. So it's not like he would have won the game for the Knicks if he hit those 2 free throws. But OG missing those 2 free throws in that key moment when the Knicks had just given up their first lead, and he gets fouled and he goes to the free throw line, it's 101-100. They had just given up the lead for the first time in the second half. You got to focus in and hit it, man. That's what you're getting paid the big bucks. It's going to be fascinating to see how this team responds after this loss. When you look at historically, this team, this exact team, now with a deeper bench, by the way, but historically, this team has responded after a poor showing like this. So we're going to see. Other than that 2-9 stretch in this season, and then even we look back at last season, this team usually gets it together and they have a nice big response. And I think with the dynamics of the playoffs, and they're going to go down to Atlanta, it's not going to be as hostile as most arenas are to an opponent, because we do have a lot of Knicks fans down there. I could easily see Knicks going in there, making their buckets, completely frustrating the Hawks defensively, and walking away with a 20-plus point Game 3 win. And then it becomes what happens in Game 4. Will Atlanta do what they did today in Game 2? And then send this series back to New York tied 2-2? That's going to be the question. It's going to be the question. I'm fascinated to see what happens. When is the actual next game? I should have already know this by now. The next game for the Knicks when is the next game? Oh, it is Thursday. It's a 7 p.m. start in Atlanta. And then Game 4 is on Saturday. Game 5 is next Tuesday. And then, if necessary, Game 6 is next Thursday. Okay, good. Okay. So this Thursday, the 23rd, and then Saturday, the 25th. 2 crucial games for these Knicks. There, you can see it. 2, and for the Hawks as well. I mean, I'm sure Hawks are feeling great that they won this game, but if they have real hopes of moving on beyond this, they know that they have to play better. Because what happened here, it wasn't so much that the Hawks took this game away from us. It's we actually gave the game to them. It's a combination of the two. So it was a push-pull. And when you have a push-pull situation, it's going to go in that direction. There's no way. There's no doubt about it. But if there was a pull, meaning OG makes his 2 free throws, we win this game. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fascinating. All right. Well, I want to shout out to the chat. Thanks so much. We surveyed 100 people. Appreciate you so much. Alex Kispa, thank you so much. Slow Runner, always appreciate hearing everyone's thoughts here. Definitely, if you're watching this later on, please drop your comments. I tried to read them all. Hey, shout out to CJ McCollum. Shout out to him. He doesn't want to go quietly into that dark night. He earned himself I don't know what his contract situation is, but whatever it is, he's getting money next year. He's going to get paid next season. Even if it's his contract that he currently has, which is probably a decent amount, or he'll get a new one because he showed he still has hops. He showed that he knows how to execute against a really good defense of the Knicks. I mean, at the end of the day, they only scored 107 points. So it's not like they lit us up in any way, shape, or form. So we shall see what happens on Thursday. I am super psyched for Thursday night's game. Okay, that's it. Thank you so much for watching this. Again, subscribe, hit the thumbs up button for me. Turn on a notification bell so you're alerted when I go live or drop a new video. I definitely will be doing a video tomorrow. I'm going to be doing a video tomorrow. I might go live late tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see how it works out. Yeah. And, join the channel if you want to become a member. That'd be great as well. It helps support Into the Knicks-Verse. We survey 100 people has been gifting memberships, which is wonderful. And, man, it's going to be interesting. Adversity reveals character. We're going to see what this team is made of on Thursday. All right. I will see you around the Knicks-Verse. Let's go. Come on.